My name is Bart Neff, Bartneff.
Where are we right now? Can you explain?
We're here in the barrel room of Christoval Vineyards. So once we ferment the red wines and we want to age them, then we bring them over here and put them in barrels, keep it nice and cool. It's like our own little cave.
What can you tell people about just the smells and the temperature in here, just what it's like to be able to walk in here every day?
Well, it's an awesome place to go, but one of the things about it is you want to be able to isolate your wines. When you're aging them, your red wines, you want to be able to isolate them with a cool temperature. Cool temperatures keep bad reactions from happening in your wine, right? And we also want to keep it nice and humid in here because these barrels, actually, if you get it too dry, they'll start to leak and you can actually lose wine. So this is like a little cave that we made to age our wines.
Can you just explain to me the importance of really having the science down as a whole? Because, you know, you're competing with any old brand that anybody can go get from the store. If people want a cheap $10, $15, $20, $30 wine bottle, they can go out and grab it.
Absolutely.
So you have to do something that sets your wine apart, and it seems like you all really, you know, no pun intended, have this down to a science.
Well, as a matter of fact, my wife always says, we do it from dirt to bottle, right? Because we grow the vines here. So it's really, to me, I think it makes a huge difference. Yes, you can go to the store and buy any bottle of wine, but when you come here to buy wine, we know what we've done. We know the history of that wine. We know the history of that field. I know every time it's rained. I know every time I fertilized, right? And then when it comes to making the wine, we know what we're doing, and we're kind of committed to the idea of the artisan winery. We're trying to do it a little bit of the old-fashioned way, and we're really trying to make the best wines that we can. We're not trying to make mass market wines. Of course, we want to sell a lot, but we want to make the best wines that we can, and we do. We've won a tremendous number of awards from the world's largest wine competitions. Last year, one of our wines won Best in Class at the San Francisco Chronicle Wine Competition. I mean, we're making great wine right here in Christoval, in the Concho Valley.
How much does a little rain help you all out here?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, we can irrigate. We have wells, so we can water the vines when we need to. But a little bit of rain goes a long way because the rain has lower salts, right? It's a little bit fresher water than what we get out of the ground, and the plants absolutely love it. So we dance a jig every time there's a nice rain.
What can you tell me about the plants still being able to survive in these hot and dry conditions, especially as it relates to the actual types of grapes you're producing and the types of wines you're producing?
Well, I think one of the most important factors that I have learned since we've been here in 5 years is you can't overlook the importance of micronutrients, right? And it's kind of like your own body. Taking a few vitamins, even though you may not notice the difference that the vitamins are having on your body right now, taking those extra vitamins just helps you have a complete system, a better metabolic system. And the same thing happens for vines, right? So we pay a lot of attention. Sometimes we take samples and we'll send them to labs, and we're looking at, are there any gaps, any deficiencies that we need to improve on? So for example, this year what we noticed is some zinc deficiencies. So I went out and I made sure I sprayed zinc sulfate on the vines to really help them recover and come back. And it's really important at harvest. So right now, when we're pulling all those grapes away from those vines, it's a lot of damage that you're doing to the vines, right? So what we'll do next is we'll kind of baby them. We'll flood them with water and we'll fertilize them again. We're going to try to make sure they're happy so that they can finish out their growing season and then settle in for winter.
And I think this is kind of a question out of left field, but it's cool. There's a lot of shade here, and I've heard that mosquitoes, they like to stay cool during the day as well. Do you deal with mosquitoes out here?
You know, we haven't had much of a problem with mosquitoes. I mean, we do have a very good biome, right? We are situated on the South Concho River, and we do have a lot of trees and a lot of shade. So in a sense, that's a tough problem for a vineyard to have because we have a lot of bug pressure, pest pressure. But on the flip side, it also means that you have kind of a thriving little ecosystem here. And we don't notice a lot of mosquitoes because we have good running water. The rivers are running. The mosquitoes like stagnant pools. So we don't have that problem. But if you drive around, you notice the dragonflies and a lot of the butterflies, which I think are kind of a positive. We also get some bees every now and then. Every now and then we'll see grasshoppers. You do try to have to manage, you kind of have to manage those, but it's not, I think it's more smart to sacrifice a little bit to have a healthier biome than to try to eradicate it all, right? The better answer is deal with it, manage it, but leave it because it's a complex system and you need to keep it complex to keep it running.
My last question for now is about the climate as well. What helps you the most being in West Texas, even though it's hot and it's dry consistently?
There's a couple of things that we're doing specifically because of the climate and that we've started recently. Number one is when we first moved here, it was we did something called bare ground farming, where you really tried to kill all the weeds underneath the vines. And the theory behind that is by getting rid of the other plants, then there's no competition for water. All the water goes to your vines. But the downside of that is you're really destroying the overall soil health, in my opinion, right? So what we started doing is planting cover crops in between the rows so that you're getting more, while you're sacrificing some water, right? You have to give those plants water, but you're also getting more soil activity and you're breaking up the soil. You're going to stop erosion and things like that. So a cover crop, I think, is really important. And number two, we actually started making our own compost. Because as you saw all the trees that we have around here, twice a year, all those leaves fall down, right? Oaks in one part and the pecans in another. I can mulch those leaves and I create a huge mulch pile. I partnered with one of my customers who has a lot of horses, and I take his horse manure and I'm making huge piles of compost that would then spread back on the vineyards, right? To make it more of a kind of a holistic system, a sustainable system, rather than just adding all the synthetic fertilizers. You still have to add a little bit, but we're trying to do it all and become really sustainable in this environment.
I think I accidentally lied. I have two more.
Okay.
What can you tell me about the people who they come in here, they work, and they enjoy it? They just, they get to take part in it themselves.
Are you talking about the workers? Oh, the volunteer harvesters.
A little bit of both.
Well, so, we have a lot of people that work with us. We like to hire students for the tasting room. We like to support Angelo State University. And then we have workers that come out here and work in the fields and help maintain the property. And it's close. It's like a nice little family, right? It's hard work. There's a lot of people that wouldn't enjoy doing this work, but if you like being outside and you don't mind a little bit of sunshine, it's a great place to be. And then you have these extra people that come in that we ask them to come in for harvest. It's a big part of our business model. To have those people come in, we basically pay them a free bottle of wine, give them a t-shirt and a free lunch, make a nice pizza. But in return, they come out and help us pick those grapes. And you would be amazed. It seems like every month somebody comes in and it's one of the previous harvesters that has come and helped us harvest. And they're thrilled to get a bottle of the wine that they helped create. It's a big deal. They actually love it, and we love to give it to them. By the end of the day, we'll also bring them out here. We teach them about the winemaking process. We show them our winery. We're really trying to engage them as more of a family, more of a club, right? If you like our wine, we want you in the club. So my wife always says our job is to grow wine lovers, not grow customers, because it's not yes, if you're a wine lover, hopefully you'll like our wine. But the bigger picture is the more people that love wine, the more successful the industry as a whole is. And we think that's a big, important part of it.
I think this is my actual last question, and I'm trying to remember it in real time. What about people who come in and they take tours? How do they not only handle the heat, but what are they thinking when they're walking around here?
Oh, when we do tours, we're very mindful of the heat. So we have people you call and reserve in advance, but we use our golf carts. We kind of give you a guided tour. We roll you around the property, and I do silly things like I make sure that when I stop and I'm going to talk for a while, you're in the shade. Right? We're not going to just intentionally overheat people while we're out here. We don't make them walk generally, although we did, one time we did a really nice walking tour, and we stationed little stations in various parts of the vineyard so that as you made your way through, you got to taste a wine from that vineyard. But we also make sure there's water available and things like that. So we try to minimize it, but the good news is it's not such a large, arduous thing to do a tour that you really have to worry too much about the heat. And of course, once you get in here into this room, you're not worried about the heat at all.